Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, today we're going to talk about some red flags. Okay, so here's what I want to say before we start this. One thing I've noticed a lot of guys that get into stoicism and maybe like just overly concerned about red flags to the maximum is you're looking, how to explain this, you've been traumatized, you've been emotionally hurt, you've been emotionally traumatized to the point where it's like you're looking for reasons to not date. Okay, now there's this it's like a stoic little short cartoon video thing where every single video the guy's saying, that's not good enough for me, you can leave now, or I'm just going to leave the relationship. So every single episode is him breaking up with her. So here's one thing I learned a long time ago. I learned it in sports, but I really consciously learned it from Tony Robbins. It was, you get what you focus on, so focus on what you want. If you focus on constantly calling a woman out on her shit, constantly having problems with a woman, constantly, you're going to end up dating women that are like that. And therefore, it's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, here's something I learned. This is going to be interesting. So Tony Robbins says, look, you get what you focus on, so focus on what you want, because otherwise you're going to get what you don't want because you're focused on what you don't want. A lot of times I'll talk to clients and say, well, okay, so what do you want in this situation? Well, what I don't want is I don't want to get hurt. And what I don't want is I don't want to get taken advantage. What I don't want, I'm like, I didn't say don't want. I said, what do you want? Here's the problem, guys. Unconsciously, a lot of you are steering in the direction of what you don't want, and you keep getting it. Now, watch these two stories. This is going to change your life. Now, when he started telling the first one, I was like, oh, that is so true. Because I live, well, they used to call it Sears Point Raceway. Now, then they called it Infinitian Raceway, and I don't know what they're calling it now. So Tony says, you have to spend like 4 or 8 class hour time. There's a certain amount of hours you gotta so you can pay money to get in one of those race cars, like a NASCAR race car, and you can race it around the track. But they're not just going to give you this. I don't know how expensive these cars are, but they're freaking expensive as hell. They're not just going to give you the keys to, hey, have fun. No, you have to take a class. I think it was 4 hours or 6 hours, I forget however long it was, and then you have to actually have training with an actual trainer in the car with you. So they don't just let you loose on these $200,000, $250,000 cars, or however much they cost, right? So you have to learn, and one of the most important things they teach you is focus on what you want, because you get what you focus on. So what they tell you is, look, you unconsciously steer the steering wheel the way your eyes are looking. So if you look to the left, your hands are going to unconsciously steer in that direction. Okay? They're like, that's why it's important to look in the direction that you want to go. What did I say? Want to go. I didn't say do not want, don't want. I didn't say that. Now they have cameras in the cars, and they say, watch, look at where this guy's looking. He went into a slide, and he looked at the wall, and he turned the steering wheel towards the wall, and he drove himself into the wall. So here's the deal. This is the way your neurology works for everything in life. So here's what they tell you. Look in the direction that you want to go. So if you go into a slide, look at where you want to go. So they say, well, I want to go around the curve. Well, look in the direction the curve's going in. Now, here's how they train that into you. They put this big helmet on you, they strap you in, and the helmet has a handle on the back of the helmet. Now, the trainer gets in the passenger seat, and he's got this box with 4 buttons on each corner. The right front corner's for the right front wheel. There's a little plate that slams down, it puts you in a slide. There's one for the left front corner, the one for the rear left, and one for the rear right. So as you're going towards the corner at 80 or 100 miles an hour or whatever, he pushes one of the buttons, and boom, it throws one of the plates down, and you start sliding, and you start going to a slide towards the wall. And if you look at the wall, he reaches back, grabs the back of the handle on the back of your helmet, and he yanks it to make you look in the direction of the car, or sorry, not the car, but of the turn. And they have a camera watching all of this, and then your hands turn in that direction, and then they let off the slide, the skid plate, and then it grips, and then it turns you in that direction. So here's what that does. It conditions your mind to constantly look in the direction. Go, oh, okay. So it's not just your mind, but it's your nervous system. It conditions into your nervous system to turn in the direction that you want to go, because your nervous system goes, oh, I see how this works. Now, they don't do it just once. They do it more than a few times. So this has to do with your reptilian center, your reticulating activating center is what Tony Robbins calls it. In psychology, we call it that, but we also call it your reptilian center, your lower reptilian brain. Okay? So it's an instinctual brain. Essentially, it gets trained. Okay? And it gets conditioned. That's a good way of saying it. So here's another one that explains how that brain works. So you get what you focus on, so focus on what you want. This is why some people get wealthy and some people don't. This is why some guys get the girl and some guys don't. This is why some always date the meanest woman on the planet and some guys get the good girl that treats them well. Watch this. Okay, so whenever your brain is introduced to something new or new to you, it sees it everywhere. It stands out. Like when you take my course, Crack Female Code, I guarantee you, when you learn the languaging patterns and a lot of other stuff I teach you, you're going to call me on the phone, Mike, you're not going to believe this. I'm at the coffee shop, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I told you, you're going to see it everywhere. Like literally everywhere. Mike, my mom, you're not going to believe what she said. I'm like, yeah, I told you, it's everywhere. Now you're seeing it because I made it stand out. Now watch this. My brother-in-law's mom had a 280ZX, a 1982 280ZX Nissan. And I think it was 1990 approximately. Well, she babied this car, and I mean babied it. It might have been 1991. And the dealership wasn't willing to give him a high enough trade-in offer because the car was like immaculate. I think it has like 56,000 or 54,000 miles on it. And she babied it. It never stayed in the sun for more than an hour. If she knew she was going to go to the mall, it was going to be more than an hour, she would leave it parked in the garage and they would take their truck. They changed the struts. It had new tires on it. It was the paint job was perfectly damn near like brand new. I mean, it was a perfect car, leather seats. It was the anniversary edition, blah, 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 fully loaded. So the dealership was wanting to give him $2,500 as a trade-in, and the father was pissed. So he sold it to me for $3,500. And I'm thinking I'm the only one in town that has a 280ZX, let alone any ZX, right? Because I'd never seen it before. Now, this is my hometown, and I had like 45,000 people or something like that. I'd never seen a freaking one of these or one of the earlier models before, or the later models. And so I'm driving around town about a week later, and I saw it was a 260 and a ZX, and I was like, or 260Z, and I was like, oh shit. And then I saw a 240 one day. I was like, oh damn. And then I saw a 280ZX the same year and model as mine. I was like, oh, what the hell? And then I saw like 3, 4, 5 more over the next month. And I was like, man, they're freaking everywhere. And my brother-in-law is like, well, you didn't notice that? I'm like, no, I didn't think anyone in town had one of these cars. He's like, what are you talking about? This was one of the most popular cars in the industry right now. This is the way the reticulating activating system works. When your brain gets locked onto something. Now, for me, it got locked on because this was a steal of a deal, an awesome car at the time, because I was going to college. There was no way I was ever going to afford a car like this, and I got a phenomenal deal, and I was thrilled through the freaking roof, because I used to drive around this beat up freaking 1981 freaking Nissan hatchback, you know, and I was just like, I was so happy with this car. I was just so proud that I got such a good deal, etc. Well, that's what happens when the reticulating activating system, if something happens, you get excited, or you get hurt, or you get scared, it sees it everywhere all of a sudden. So the problem with you guys constantly looking at stoic videos and these videos on red flags and all this stuff, and it's the reason why I don't put them out there. You guys think, oh, this guy's just naive, or he just had super luck with women. No, I've had nightmares with women, the most insane shit you can't believe. But I also know if I focus on that, I'm going to repeatedly attract those kind of women. And here's the way it works. It blocks out everything else. And therefore, your reality becomes, well, all women are this way. No, not all women are that way. Just the women that you focus on unconsciously. All right, let's go to the nightmares. My high school girlfriend, her brother died. I took care of her. She didn't talk for a whole year before she met me. I spent about 6 months with her and she started to talk. It was a big deal at her family because they wanted her to go to college at USC, okay? In fact, if you didn't go to USC, the entire family, including the parents, would have to reject you and would never talk to you again until you went to USC. You think I'm kidding? There was a birthday party when we were 11th grade. Her older brother, Dane, was there. Now, the brother that died was in between them. He died in a car accident. And he basically, like, his grades went down, so he didn't get to go to USC, so he's going to a junior college. All the cousins flew up from Southern California. These were wealthy people. Not a single person out of about 50 people, not only would they not talk to him, they wouldn't even stand in the area that he was in. So he was in the corner, and I finally walked over, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? And my girlfriend walks up, no, Michael, don't talk to him. I'm like, why? Nobody talks to him. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, why? So she pulled me aside and she explained to me why. Because in their family, that's kind of the rule. Not kind of the rule, that's the rule. Like, so it was a really cruel thing. Now watch this. So she finally got her grades up. She got into USC. The family was like, Michael, thank you so much. She was grateful. Well, here's how it went. So my senior year, when I'm at football practice and wrestling practice all year, she was at my uncle's house, who I lived with, and having sex with my uncle. You guys are the first people that I've ever said this to in my entire life. At the same time, this entire year, in fact, I think it went back to my junior year. Yeah, now that I think about it. And so here I am living with this guy. He's sleeping with my girlfriend. She's sneaking over there when I'm at practice. And she's going around telling everyone I'm cheating on her. To this day, there are dozens and dozens of women that fucking hate me for the lie that she told. So after we graduated, my best friend died when we were in college. And I went home to be with the family. And guess who calls their house? Never called their house ever before. Got the number, called. And the mother picked up the phone. And she said, oh, Michael, it's for you. I'm like, well, who would be calling me for here? She goes, it's your girlfriend. I was like, my girlfriend? So she called from USC. She says, oh, I'm good. Now, my best friend's mom, she was leaning her head on my shoulder, listening to the conversation, thinking, I don't want to say anything, was going to say something really, really nice. She goes, hey, I just want to let you know I'm breaking up with you. Now, she was really happy and cheerful. I'm like, oh, I guess you didn't hear what happened. She goes, no, I heard what happened. I'm like, no, Megan, I guess I almost said it again. You wouldn't be breaking up with me if you knew. She goes, oh, no, I just heard, I talked to my best friend so-and-so. And she goes, she just told me that your best friend just died. That's why I'm calling to break up with you. And she freaking laughed. The mom was like, oh, my God. And the mom went, no. And she goes running upstairs. And she goes, what was that? I go, that was his mom. She was listening to our conversation. Now, let me tell you, there's a ton of other things she did to me over the years just to beat me down. So please do not tell me that you guys, like, Mike doesn't understand, because everyone thinks, oh, Mike's so lucky. You would not believe how cruel women are to me, because they're like, man, that's a good-looking guy. He probably gets all the girls. And I've had women tell this to me, like, months later after they ripped my heart to pieces. I'm like, why did they? And they're like, man, I'm so sorry. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, I just thought you were this lucky guy, and you never had any hard time in life. You don't know what it's like, so I was going to put you in your place. I go, what did I do? Was I cocky? Was I arrogant? Well, no, actually, you're really nice. I go, so put me in my place for what? What are you talking about? Well, I just assumed, because you're this confident guy, I just assumed you could get any girl in the world. And I go, yeah, but every girl, see, here's the thing I told her, I go, you think that you're the only one who's done this to me? Every girl I've dated since high school has looked at me the same fucking way you have. I had a girl walk into the gym one time when I was in my early 20s and just walk up. It was like her first week there, and she walks over, walks up to me, she goes, what did she say to me? She starts yelling at me. And I forget what she said, but I was like, well, what the fuck's her problem? Like, who the fuck is that? And, oh, that's Dan's girlfriend. And so I went up to Dan and said, hey, you straighten your fucking girlfriend out, or I'm going to beat your fucking ass. Now, Dan was a big dude, but I was national champion in kickboxing then. So here's the funny thing. About 8 months later, maybe 7 months later, she comes back to me. The funny thing, I was doing curls at the same side of the gym. And I'm like, oh, shit, because I could see her in the mirror. And it was the same angle, the same, like, oh, here we go again. I'm going to rip her a new asshole. She goes, I am so sorry. I'm like, for what? She goes, I just assumed you were one of those guys. I go, what guys? I just assumed you were an asshole. I'm like, why? And I go, is that why you treated me like shit this whole time? She goes, well, yeah, I just assumed you were one of those guys that had no feelings and treated people like shit. I'm like, so what changed your mind? She goes, it's obvious. You're one of the nicest guys in the world. Guys, I've been through so much shit. You can't even imagine. Alright, so here's a red flag. If you ask a woman to marry you, let's say you've been dating for 6 months or a year or something, you ask her to marry you, and she says, let's wait, fucking run. She's not in love. Be done with it. I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, when you first date someone, like especially that first year, they're madly in love with you. They're just jumping up and down. They can't wait to see you, blah, blah, blah. And you say, do you want to marry me? Oh, I love you. I want to marry you. Yeah. I mean, shit, you're going to wait. Usually an engagement lasts a year. In fact, that's generally the official term. So it's not like you're getting married tomorrow, next week, or next month. It's going to be another year so you can still find out if you guys are compatible. So literally, if she's not jumping up and down, hugging you, kissing you, crying, screaming, oh my God, trust me, she is not in love with you. I'm telling you, if she has to ponder and think about, well, I don't know, maybe, or if she says, well, let's wait 6 months, I am telling you, run. Be done with it. She's going to waste your time and it's going to fucking hurt. It happened to me. Now, this was not my second girlfriend, but it was my second love. So this was in my early to mid 20s until I was about 30, 31 years old before I moved away. She wasted a lot of my time. She knew the whole time she was never going to marry me. She was just having too much fun and she was cheating on me and, all the same shit that we talk about and all the red flags and all that stuff, right? Well, here's the worst part about it. I went to my mom and I told her and she just laughed at me and thought it was funny. Oh, Michael, give her a break. And then I went to my pastor and I went to him it was like 5 different times. And I said, yeah, I caught her cheating on me again. He goes, oh, you did the Beyonce thing. Now, this is before Beyonce got famous. He goes, you got to put a ring on that finger. Because maybe that song did come out. It was about that time. Maybe, I think it was before, but maybe. So the first time I went up to him, he goes, oh, give her another chance, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, because he met her a few times. Now, here's the thing. She didn't go to church very often. She only went to church like 5 times total out of 8 years. So he just, because she was a woman, oh, Michael, she's a woman. Well, then by the 5th time, he said to me again, oh, Michael, you got to put a ring on her finger. You got to make an honest woman of her. And I'm thinking, isn't that what mothers usually say to their daughters? Like, you got to make an honest man. Like, what am I, like the fucking in the woman's shoes now? What the fuck? Here's the point, guys. I knew something was off right there. Don't listen to people. If I was a pastor and a young man came up to me that I'd known for years, said my girlfriend, I caught her cheating on me, physically caught her, I'd be like, fuck that bitch. Break up with her right now. Don't ever talk to her again. Let alone the 5th time, Like, come on, man. I never went back to church again. I was done with it. And I broke up with her, too. I was, done with this shit. So, yeah, if a woman cheats on you, if she's playing mind games, get the hell out. Okay, I'm going to end this video with this, and I'm going to give the more tips. It's going to be a shorter video in the next video because I'm trying to keep these videos short for you guys. If you guys need professional coaching, I'm an NLP trainer, master Ericksonian hypnotherapist, master practitioner of timeline therapy. I studied psychology at Arizona State, Chico State. There's a long list that goes after. I'm going to leave it at that. I've been specializing in communication between men and women. My specialty is emotional healing and also teaching men how to romantically seduce women. Buy my book, Crack the Female Code, if you want to get started. Remember, click subscribe, click the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.